Hey Sarah Michelle, what's a GMO?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
A GMO, or genetically modified organism, is a result of a laboratory process where genes from the DNA of one species are extracted and artificially forced into the genes of an unrelated plant or animal. Here are some examples of products that contain genetically engineered ingredients. As a nutrition major here at the University of Nevada, health is a very important factor in my life.
Did you know 80% of packaged foods from our local grocery store contain genetically modified ingredients? Of course you didn't, because these products aren't labeled. Today, 93% of soy, 90% of canola, and 89% of corn grown here in the United States have been genetically engineered.
So why doesn't the U.S. require GMO labeling? Well, here to discuss is Alexis Badenmeyer and Elizabeth Kucinich. Alexis is the political director of Organic Consumer Association, and Elizabeth is the director of policy for Center for Food Safety.
Let's start out by asking you all this because Vermont has already passed one of these referendums, essentially. Voters there decided they wanted this, and of course, in that case, it doesn't take effect, I think, until 2016. Manufacturers say, we don't need this. Food companies say, we don't need this. And they say it's prohibitively expensive because if we do it in Oregon, if we do it in Colorado, we've got to do it everywhere, or we have this piecemeal. If you get it passed in Oregon and Colorado, and of course already in Vermont, does that just mean there's GMO labeling in every state? Is that essentially what happens, Alexis?
I sure hope so. The companies should have done this a long time ago. Consumers have a right to know what they're eating.
Most of the concerns surrounding genetically modified organisms relates to the potential negative effects on the environment and human health. Toxicity is a huge issue surrounding chemical pesticides and herbicides. Bees and butterflies are the most talked about examples. They have now become endangered because of the new agricultural techniques being used to create these genetically modified organisms. In 1992, the FDA claimed that genetically modified foods were safe to eat. FDA scientists, on the other hand, warn that genetically modified organisms can create unpredictable, hard-to-detect side effects, including allergies, toxins, new diseases, and nutritional problems. Even though there is a lack of human-related evidence, genetically modified organisms have altered the lives of many animals. These pigs were fed a diet of genetically engineered corn and showed signs of stomach inflammation and abnormal growths.
These rats have been fed with transgenic corn during their entire life cycle. The tumors they suffer from are enormous. The study that revealed the effect of the GMOs on the health of these rats has just been completed.
Both these fish are 18 months old, but the larger genetically engineered Aqua Advantage salmon grows twice as fast as the regular salmon.
There has not been sufficient animal health testing, human health testing, or environmental impact testing of these new transgenic fish.
Basically, they've taken agriculture and built an industrial model which doesn't fit nature. So instead of changing their agricultural model to accommodate what is natural, they're changing nature to accommodate the industrial model.
We simply do not have enough data or experience to know what the long-term impacts of these modified foods are. It's because of the added bacterial genes, proteins, and gene fragments never before seen in foods that the United States should require labeling.
What do these 64 countries have in common? Well, they all require labeling of genetically modified foods. The United Kingdom is one of those countries. They decided to label genetically modified foods for the overriding priority of the human health and the environment. If these modified ingredients were proven harmless, then why did these 64 countries feel the urge to waste their money and time labeling for their consumers?
Some products, like Earth Balance, have made it easier on us and labeled their products themselves. By shopping in the natural foods aisle, you are eliminating yourself from genetically modified organisms. Many people people oppose buying organic foods, when in fact, a box of Cheerios like these are the same price.
The only thing that GMOs do right now is enable chemical companies to sell more chemicals, to create food that doesn't have pesticides sprayed on it. The food actually has pesticides growing inside of it. And the food can be sprayed with herbicides that used to kill the plants. Now you can spray these herbicides directly on the plants and the plants don't die. That's what genetic engineering has been used for thus far.
And just quickly, we have about 30 seconds for each of you to finish up here. But again, to your point, as far as longer life for the food and all that, it just hasn't taken place. You don't want to ban GMOs altogether, right? You just want them to be labeled at this point? Just let people know what they're eating?
I think people really need to know what they're eating, and I think that our system of agriculture really needs to be addressed very seriously, so that we have regenerative agriculture that actually sustains health within our soil, that creates healthy people, healthy food. And right now what we have is chemical companies that own 53% of the world's seed supply, and they're continuing to patent and sell chemicals.
What if we could produce more yield on the same amount of land, squeeze more water from a single raindrop, conserve natural resources while caring for the environment?
Monsanto is the company that told us that PCBs were safe. They told us that Agent Orange was safe. They told us that DDT was safe, and now they're in charge of telling us if their own genetically modified foods are safe.
Even if you decide not to change your eating habits, we should still have the right to know.
Let's become the 65th country to require labeling.